Today, making an independent film is a very expensive job interview. Young directors max out their credit cards to create highly polished calling cards, hoping to get hired for the next billion-dollar franchise. They follow a strict, unwritten syllabus. Pick a clearly defined genre, make sure the plot hits standard structural beats, and above all, hide the fact that you have no money. Yet the longest-running, most consistently profitable independent studio in film history built its empire by ignoring every single one of those rules. This is Troma Studios. Founded by Yale graduates Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Herz, Troma has spent over 40 years producing incredibly cheap, unapologetically bizarre schlock through sheer guerrilla grit. Their decades of survival show that the manicured Hollywood playbook isn't a requirement. True independence means you have to be willing to break the rules, and occasionally, a few fake limbs. Troma's output is so aggressively weird that it completely short-circuits standard film criticism. You can't judge these movies by normal metrics. But if you ask industry veterans, you'll hear a surprising amount of reverence. The legendary producer, Roger Corman, a man who mentored Coppola and Scorsese, has specifically described Troma's body of work as a Dali-esque mutation of modern cinema. Kaufman operates on a philosophy that serves as a kind of anti-Masterclass. If Hollywood says to do it one way, Troma does the exact opposite, outsmarting a rigid studio system with weaponized chaos. If you want to understand the DNA of modern blockbuster directing, you actually have to start in the basement, studying Troma's underground rulebook of trash. Rule number 1, destroy the pamphlet. The studio system demands clear, single genres. Distributors and video stores need to know exactly which aisle to shelve your movie in, whether that's action, romance, or horror. Troma prefers what Kaufman calls the Cuisinart of cinema. They violently blend gore, elements of sex, horror, and comedy together into an unclassifiable final product. Watching one of these films requires an extreme commitment. You have to lock your disbelief in a small iron crate and torture it. Rule number 2 is that logistics trump lofty visions. A director's artistic intention means absolutely nothing if the crew doesn't have basic electricity or enough working bathrooms on set. This means pivoting whenever a free resource appears. When an abandoned cruise ship was left in Manhattan Harbor, Troma hijacked it for a location. And before shooting begins, they film a low-stakes test scene, like a practical head-crushing, just to gauge which crew members have the stomach to survive the production. The distinct look of a Troma film doesn't come from a highly manicured storyboard. It emerges directly from the raw, logistical chaos of surviving a guerrilla film shoot. Rule number 3, show the seams. While Hollywood spends millions of dollars to render perfect, seamless visual effects, Troma proudly uses recycled fake limbs and highly visible rubber masks. These visible flaws serve a purpose, turning the viewing experience interactive. Because the effect isn't perfect, your brain actively works to bridge that gap. This forces the audience to use their imagination, creating a spiritual connection with the film. Rule number 4 requires loudness over subtlety, which demands a certain ruthlessness on set. Kaufman compares his firing practices to Woody Allen's. Both directors understand the immediate need to cut weak links, protecting the shoot's momentum. If a scene starts to drag, Troma deploys their ultimate failsafe, abandon subtlety entirely, and inject violence, sex, or monkeys to jolt the audience awake. What critics dismiss as cheapness is actually a calculated, aggressive strategy designed to force relentless audience engagement. Slowing down slightly, this anti-masterclass extends beyond the camera. Troma applied their backwards logic directly to their business model to guarantee no executive could ever interfere with their work. Standard indie practice involves pre-selling foreign rights or chasing whatever trend is currently popular to secure financing. Troma refused. They opted for total, risky ownership of their entire library. To distribute these films, they bypassed traditional Hollywood channels completely. Instead, they sold cheap VHS tapes directly to their rabid fanbase during the very early days of the internet. By controlling their own money and distribution, they secured total financial independence. It was the only way to protect their bizarre creative vision from being sanitized by a corporate boardroom. Over the decades, this stubborn refusal to conform paid off. Today, some of the most prestigious film institutions in the world run retrospectives honoring Troma's subversive impact. Look closely at the top tier of modern Hollywood, and you will find an army of directors directly inspired by Troma's do-it-yourself ethos. from Peter Jackson to Quentin Tarantino. Kaufman even championed the raw, early college work of Trey Parker and Matt Stone, passing out their tapes years before South Park became a cultural fixture. True cinematic independence doesn't ask for Hollywood's permission. By embracing financial limitations and refusing to compromise your weirdness, you build your own universe.